Mercy, the most easiest hero for new players to play in Overwatch and soon to be Overwatch 2. Mercy is a low skill cap hero and she's extremely strong, but she can kill Genjis by giving him a glare. Now let's get into depth of Mercy. I find Mercy in a situation where she is bad and good at the exact same time. 50 of the damage that the enemy team deals now often is way too low, while 60 it's way too strong for someone who does not have a way to cooldown to recharge their ability. Now let's talk about in depth of Mercy's each ability and her ult and her weapons and her staff. Now Mercy in general is a one star out of 3. That is how Overwatch rates her. Now I believe that, I don't believe at the exact same time. Mercy is a low cap hero. Just because she's a low cap skill hero does not mean she's good at all. I believe that she's extremely good and bad. Picks it up in the higher ranks, gets way too much damage towards her team, so she's extremely useless in a way. Now her staff deals 50 healing now. Before it was 60, but in Guardian Angel it cranks up to 60. Now this is just Guardian Angel is up for 12 seconds, and also it heals multiple allies at the exact same time. So in a way, the increase your healing to 55 will be an improvement in a way, and also a nerf towards your team if you're coming across a Mercy who can use this as an advantage. And also her ult will be grandly increased, and keeping your teammates alive while in a 1v2 situation when your opponent also has a Mercy on them. And this can be a major problem for you and your team to deal with. Increasing Guardian Angel, and also so on and so on. Now her pistol, I believe her pistol does 20 damage and 25 damage to the headshot, much more than the soldiers, which I believe there's a problem with that. Having a primarily only healer beaming more damage than a soldier, then that's kind of a problem in a way. I believe this should be changed right away, because I do not know what to deal with this while playing Mercy or dealing with someone with the same skill or problem with Mercy. Now Mercy is Guardian Angel. Her Guardian Angel allows her to fly to her teammates, just getting out of problems and etc., such as Dooms, Genjis, Hanzos. A lot more ults like Divas, and getting her out of tricky situations where she puts herself in and baiting out enemy ults. I believe, to be honest, I believe that's absolutely fine. There's no problem with it. She said the exact same thing. Now her resurrection, that has been reworked like over 3,000 times. It was her ult for team resurrection. Resurrection was insta, and faster. It was a lot of problems there with Mercy. But I believe Mercy is the only character in the game who has the most reworks, changes, buffs, nerfs. Actually, never had a buff at all, like 911. Just reworks and nerfs because she's too strong in a way, but she's never really used in the higher leagues because her damage output is too low. And I believe, to be honest, resurrection, how I would change it is to make the resurrection cooldown to 45 seconds. We'll have the resurrection instant in a way, so maximum resurrections per fight will be a whole team in a way. Also, that's how I believe it also. And when she's in Guardian Angel, resurrection should be instant, and she should regain her resurrection if it's not halfway. That's how I believe it should works. And Angel Descent, nothing's wrong with it. Keep it the same way. Valkyrie, that's one of the major problems I don't like about Valkyrie. I believe two things I would change really about her resurrection and Valkyrie is to make the ult a resurrection. I believe that would be a really big difference. So every 4,000 healing, she can resurrect one of her teammates. I believe that should be a thing. Not healing away, but you get the GIF every ult wise. Or if we're not gonna do that, I believe the best way to do it is to have Valkyrie 15 seconds or 20 seconds long, so that the team can last a bit longer. And Valkyrie should apply damage and healing at the exact same time, but turning into 8-second Valkyrie time period. I believe this would be a massive change, a really big one, and this would make her very efficient in a way. And just a lot of problems I had with Valkyrie. It was that just because you're in Valkyrie mode does not mean you're invincible in a way. So you're just fucking getting spam, and I just got fucking banned in the process. Anyway, that was just a joke. But to be honest, Valkyrie is a hero where I would rate her 6 on 10, and skill level I'll rate her 5 on 10. To be honest, for the past few weeks, I have find Mercy a very easy and hard hero to play. So I am usually a DPS main, so I don't really have this shit. Plus, I like how it locks on, so you don't have to look at the hero themselves. So they do the journal view like more as deep damage ability. I find, to be honest, Mercy should be the exact same way, but I believe she deserves a buff, so it should be used more often, because she's really used and really underrated. And so I wanted to get some advice or points of views from a Grand Mercy player. So here's Luce McAllister. Hi guys, today we have Luce here, Grand player Mercy main. Hi Dad. Okay,
Hey.
so Luce, what's like being a Mercy player?
It's like a mixture of things. It's fun because I have never had good aim. I just like playing Mercy because she just has so much mobility. I'm basically a moth at this point. Um, it's kind of hard to say, but I genuinely enjoy playing Mercy a lot. But I have about 280 hours on Mercy, but I don't consider it a lot. But a lot of people say to me, how the fuck do you not get bored of it? But generally it's actually quite good. I love playing Mercy, it's my life.
What buffs or changes would you make to Mercy to make her a valuable player for you to deal with or for you to play as?
So generally, in general, her healing is lower than other healers, and it's fixed, so you can't do any more. For example, Moira is quite high, and you can do a bunch at one time with her healing orb. So I would say, over a year ago, her healing used to be like 60, now it's down to 50. I would hope that the devs would make it either back to 60, or at the least put it to 55 healing per second, because if they're the majority of the time I'm playing Mercy and the team are running a high damage comp, and we may have a squishy tank like D.Va that may not have enough heal or damage, or snipers and things. So generally her healing needs to be a bit higher to make it more viable, especially in higher ranks where it's harder to play her because a lot of people have a lot more awareness. But I also want to briefly touch on Valkyrie, where the old one used to be really fun, 2 ult charges and they were both instant, and that was really good because you were able to fly someone else, you can get 2 healers up, maybe one of them has an ult, then you could possibly win the team fight. And one of the good things with Valkyrie in itself is that it goes through enemy barriers. It also increases your healing up to 60, but it's just generally a good idea. It's a really good ability for contesting points, especially if only one of your teammates are down. But in terms of Valkyrie, I would say either make the res that you can use in Valkyrie instant, just so you have more mobility generally. Because she stays, if you're resing in Valkyrie, you res for about 2 seconds, you're just like a sitting duck in the air. But I would say either make the res a little bit faster, or either make the res instant, because...
I like the older res, so you just press the button, boom, you're in the game.
Yeah, but only one of them, because otherwise more than one will be too OP, like the old Valkyrie was.
So you prefer it coming in right away, or giving the player 2 reses, but make it slower? So more time for the enemy team to react to what you're doing.
The thing is, if it's gonna be 2 reses, it might be more. It might be a bit overpowered because I don't know, but that could be a possibility. They could bring that back, but I don't see that coming back. I'm thinking about things that might come back.
What about a
So,
Valkyrie?
well, generally it's alright, but I honestly think for her Valkyrie, they should make the res instant.
When she's in Valkyrie mode.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think if when she goes in Valkyrie mode, her resurrection comes back?
I don't like that because, well, back when the old Valkyrie before February like 2018, it used to be if you didn't use a res before Valkyrie, like 30 seconds before Valkyrie, you had like a second one, and then it also decreased the res cooldown by 15 seconds. So
Mhm.
within 15 seconds, I believe, maybe it's 10 or 15, but generally you would get res much faster. And if because their ult lasted 20 seconds, and you had 5 seconds left, and then you could just swoop right in and get another res that's half your team back up. But I'm not really sure. They could bring a variant of that back, but I don't see it all coming back because it's way too overpowered.
Interesting. Okay, what about our damage boost?
Damage boost, I think it's good for where it is because if you take you need to take into context what damage boost is. It's a regular ability. It's not, it's just like healing. It's a regular ability. It needs to be limited in some ways because it's infinite. You never run out of it. So obviously it needs to be less than nano, which is like 50% more damage. So I would say they don't need to change it because it's currently at 20%. I think that's enough because she can still do a lot of, she can still damage boost quite well. So I honestly think she doesn't need to change her damage boost.
Okay, what about her pistol? Like her gun in a way.
Her pistol, it's honestly, for me, it's very hard to use, but I'm just not used to Battle Mercy generally. So personally, I don't see any changes because I'm bad at Battle Mercy, but considering that I am bad, there are loads of Battle Mercies who are way better than me. So if you're buffing Mercy to make it easier for me, it's also making that way easier for the people who have much better Battle Mercy skills. So her pistol has enough ammo for me because it takes 5 headshots to kill a person. And it takes like 10 body shots. I don't think she needs to have any changes to her pistol because she can still do a lot of damage. She's like an angel with a fucking shotgun. So
Okay then. Well, thank you very much, Luce McAllister, for joining us today. I appreciate you, coming with us.
okay.
Is there anything else you'd like to say about Mercy?
I would say one thing I would say is that if you're playing with a Battle Mercy, they're probably not a good healer. And please don't assume that Mercy is a no-skill hero. That's probably the one thing that you can make a Mercy main angry. That's probably the easiest way to make a Mercy main angry. So don't do that.
Well, thank you very much, Luce, for joining us today. If you guys want to go follow Luce on Instagram, I'll have his account in the description below, and as also his PSN. Thank you very much for that. Thank you very much, Luce.
It's fine.
Okay.